Hey there, welcome to the Eurostep, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN, and presented by our amazing friends at Prize Picks. More about Prize Picks later. The season has come to an end. We've been in the off-season mode for a little bit, and this is the first Eurostep in a while, actually, that it's not going to be Ty, because Ty usually does the intro. But it's me, Rohan Katti, here with my GSPN friend, Jordan Treske, co-host of the Win in Six podcast. Jordan, how's it going?
Doing well. How about yourself?
You know, I'm doing okay. Things are setting in. Everything's been fine. And now we get to see how real basketball is played. The conference finals are going to be starting today as we're recording this on Tuesday. It's nice. Have you been enjoying watching other games?
Gotta be honest, I have not watched. I shouldn't say I have not watched a minute of basketball because I definitely have watched like here or there. But I pretty much last 3 seasons. Once the Bucks are out, it really is hard for me to kind of plug in. I think the nice thing, objectively, is knowing that all 3 out of the 4 teams that are left are like kind of freshly like newbies. Like I know the Pacers made the conference finals last year, but it was not really close.
Yeah, like you think so you're saying all of them have a legitimate chance to win the title, is what you're saying?
I wouldn't say maybe. I don't. It's at least like fresh blood in the sense of like Timberwolves have never been in the finals. Pacers have only been in the finals once.
Is that an ABA title? I think it is. Are we counting ABA titles?
They have won ABA titles, correct? They did go against the Lakers.
Yeah.
But I don't remember how long that series was either. Thunder. I mean, when they went to the finals. It's funny thinking about the Thunder from that finals because that was a very much like I'm reintroducing myself to the NBA, so that it's a very big flashpoint. But that's also like 13 years ago, and that team has obviously changed significantly. And then who am I missing? And then of course the Knicks, which it's the Knicks, so everybody's like going crazy.
I know 3 out of the 4.
Timothy Chalamet in the front row.
Hey, I'm a big Tim C guy, unless he does something terrible in the future, in which case I never supported Tim C.
The big fundamental, as they call him, right?
Yeah, I think so, right? One letter off a little bit. But unfortunately, we can't talk about amazing basketball all day. But you know what? It's been a while since you and me have just done a pod, Jordan, so I just have to get your takes on what's going on. But the title of this pod is grading the Milwaukee Bucks roster after another disappointing season. So if you can't understand that, we're going to be grading the Bucks, every single Buck who's made it to the end of the roster. We're not going to worry about guys who were on the team and then not didn't make it to the end. But we're just going to be talking about guys who were there as the season ended. No DeLon Wright here. No Chris Middleton.
It's funny because that was going to be my example of like who are not graded.
No Marjon Beauchamp.
Nope. No Liam Robbins.
Oh, Liam Robbins. Great tenure as a Buck. He did absolutely nothing. So we're just going to be going through those players who made it to the end of the season. But one of the ways I wanted to do this, and Ty and I, we did this recently on our weekly streams in the Bleacher Report app, where we went and gave grades to position groups. So one of the most fun things that we had while doing that was trying to put people into position groups. So I think going player by player by position group is going to be one of the. It's going to be fun for me. Trust me. We're gonna make it through. Jordan, you're already overthinking it. We're gonna think about it one at a time. I need flashbulb stuff. I know you're a really smart guy, and you're going to be thinking about things ahead of time. But we're just going to be going through piece by piece. But before we get into that, I guess there's not really been any news regarding the Milwaukee Bucks. The only news, I don't even want to say news, quote unquote news, because it's coming from a guy who's doing big 3 trade requests. And I just like, I don't know, man.
Don't disrespect the briefs.
I don't know. I'm a big Haynes Briefs guy. I love these.
I'm a big Haynes Briefs guy, but he's serving up some I was about to swear. I didn't want to make it explicit.
But it's like if I'm getting a tweet notification for Michael Beasley requesting a trade or
Yeah.
thinking about requesting a trade from an expansion Big Three team after Lance Stevenson goes #1 overall, Chris Haynes, you might be losing your notification privileges because that's kind of ridiculous.
We should play. I mean, we're definitely in the offseason. We should play. We really. This is actually perfect. I hype up even more. But so much of the NBA media landscape has changed. Woj is gone. I still have push notifications for him, but everything that he does is St. Bonaventure related, which, you do you, Woj. Shams, who deserves their push notification status? Chris Haynes, you're wobbling, buddy. You're wobbling. Everybody's talking about, like, who's going to be requesting a trade. He's like, I got the trade request that everybody's talking about. Michael Beasley with the Miami 305 or whatever the hell.
It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Like I did not expect when I saw that, I honestly got mad. I was like, why am I seeing this? This isn't a thing. I know he works for them, right? Like I know he's gonna be their sideline reporter.
Yeah.
But who cares? Like I don't care. Like I don't need it.
I think also too when I was more, this is again, you just get older. So knowing that like when the Big Three was started, which is like 2016-17,
Oh my god.
it was like Gary Payton. I think so. It was like Gary Payton or like Rashard Lewis is playing. So like guys that I remember like being like 14, 15 that were like playing, but now having like a Beasley or a Lance Stevenson who like guys I watched like regularly and came of age and can remember. I mean, Michael Beasley was a Buck, and have it be where it's like, this needs to end. There's too many sports. Like, good for them to get money out of this. Ice Cube is paying out the big bucks. Apparently, I didn't even know that. I thought when I saw like the Big Three was like the Ghost Ballers. So I saw Miami 305. I was like, when did that happen? Like, I don't pay attention to this league that shouldn't exist in the first place.
It's crazy to me. But the real reason that I wanted to bring that up, it's crazy. Yeah, Miami 305. What a wild team. That's also an expansion. You know what? Good on them. They have expansion teams.
There's a lot going on there.
Like they're still adding new teams. But this was a report from Chris Haynes, a Haynes brief, as some might say, from this past Saturday, where he said, breaking, Bucks make contact with Giannis Antetokounmpo and now very crucial meeting is scheduled for next week. Sources tell me. So yeah. I don't know. Like this is something that we've been hearing about for a while, where it's just like, okay, the Bucks and Giannis, they're gonna have a big meeting to discuss the future. You know, the same thing that happens every year. That's really been my take on it. Is, this is the same thing. Obviously, the pressure is ratcheted up exponentially higher than it has been in the past, but it's the same formula. It's the same setup. It's the same routine, but just the stakes are a lot higher. But all I've been reading about, like how I've read into this report, is just the Bucks and Giannis are having their yearly meeting. Do you have any, like, do you disagree? Do you think anything else of it? I want to hear your takes, Jordan.
Well, before I give my take, the Houston Big Three team name, it's called the Houston Rig Hands.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
No, I don't disagree. I think you're correct. I think you're spot on. Is this anything out of the ordinary? Is there anything that's really... I think the only thing that I would assume is that if something explosive were to happen, none of that stuff would be reported on. Like, this is famous last words from my perspective. But I don't think that if Giannis asked out, it's going to be meetings over at 5 o'clock, and at 5:01, Haynes Brees has his next like big scoop of what Giannis says. Like, what is going back and forth between team and Giannis won't really be revealed until either he makes like a public commitment, which he's done in the past before, or he does get traded. You know what I mean? Like I think it's gonna be very, I don't know. If worst comes to worst, I think it would be very hush hush, because I don't think Giannis is someone that would draw something out like that. And to your point, like the closest equivalent where there was some worry about things was coming out of the bubble. They lose to the Heat. There was obviously a lot of emotion wrapped up in other ways during that time because of just how weird the world was and how sterile that situation was. But it was like a big thing of like he's meeting with Mark Lazary, and I remember Woj like specifically talking about like the Bucks and Lazary like promised Giannis that they would go into the luxury tax and explore all options kind of thing. Even a couple years ago before the Dame trade, he talked about things, but there wasn't a meeting of like Giannis needs to be on the same page with owner, or management needs to be on the same page with Giannis on where to go after that Heat playoff loss. Like I don't know. I just think it's when Shan was just talking about this the night of the draft lottery, it just felt very much like this isn't out of the ordinary. It's only being mentioned in this dramatic way because, hey, we have a draft lottery show in 12 hours that we want you to be watching because we'll be talking about this.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you there, where we're not going to hear about it until, something actually happens. And especially because during these commitment opportunities in the past for Giannis, he's taken his time. Like the Supermax, the original Supermax didn't come until a few weeks before, or a week or two before the season started, back in December, because it was the COVID shortened year. And then the last extension, which no one was even expecting, only happened again a few weeks before, or I think it was the week before the season started, because they had just made the Dame trade.
It was like the extension day, right? With like during the time of like rookie scale extensions. Mm-hmm. There was like the rare few, and Giannis is obviously because he hits all the benchmarks that qualify.
Yeah, it was. It's always late, right? So we're not going to hear anything. I think the exception to this is one. I guess I hate saying it, but there's a real possibility that it actually ends up being a thing. And I want to say, to be clear, my position has been I don't think it's likely to happen, but I think it's the most likely it has ever been. I still think.
Where would you put your percentage?
65-35.
I would say. I think I'll say 60-40. So we're kind of in that ballpark, but it's definitely the closest it's ever felt of like the ripcord might be pulled.
100%. I literally had a dream last night that Giannis got traded, and I woke up, checked my phone. I'm like, what? Wait, what? What's going on? And I specifically remember.
And then you saw your Michael Beasley. He might ask for a trade. He's thinking about it.
And I specifically remember, in my dream, I'm like, I'm seeing tweets about like, oh, this means like Pat Connaughton's going this way in the trade. Like, I don't remember anything else of the trade besides that Pat was going somewhere. So I wake up and check my phone and I'm like, did this actually happen? No, it did not. But I think the most important thing about this year specifically is the draft. And San Antonio being one team that's well positioned to do so and having the number 2 overall pick, that's not, you can't ignore that. And if there was to be something that crazy happens, or pull the ripcord, as you say, maybe the draft. So here's my thing. If the draft passes and we hear nothing, we're not going to hear anything for a long time.
I wouldn't think so. Because how many days is going to be till free agency? Teams are going to want.
And plus, Giannis is going to want to see what the Bucks do. That's going to be a part of this meeting. Is like, hey, what are your plans in free agency? What are your plans to do with trades? And he's going to give them the benefit of the doubt to be able to go and see their moves. He's a smart guy, and he likes Milwaukee and he likes the Bucks. So he's going to give the team the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, let's see what you can do, and then we'll talk based on what happens. But
they won't be like maxing Jeremy Grant and Dame's like, I need to get out of here.
Dame, plot twist.
I know, but that was like I think that was when he officially. It was like the Blazers signed Jamie Grant to that max like a couple summers
No,
ago,
I remember.
and then there was like that same day of like Woj is like Damian Lillard has submitted his trade request.
It was really funny. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. And I think I want to stop talking about this.
Well, are we gonna? He's not a current Buck. Are we gonna talk about the major injury update to Thanasis?
Oh yes! Oh my goodness, yes! As announced on Thanalysis, he's back. He's ready. That's good. You know what? That's good. If that is not the first Buck signing this offseason, Giannis is gonna leave. They need to make that priority number one. I think one of the most successful things I've done while having this platform is be able to, over this last season, convince people that I was always right about Thanasis. Is that he has to be there. He absolutely
has to be there, and not only just because of that, but that guy. We don't need to see him do AI images because he interviewed Drew Brees.
I don't even like what happened.
Get him on, like. He's not big three. He's too good for the big three. He's not playing the Houston Rig Hands or whatever they're called. But the moment I saw the image of Drew Brees throwing a football towards a cartoon Thanasis, they're both cartoons.
And it's just Thanasis is a cartoon.
He's totally the only one. It's supposed to be set in Greece, but the Roman Colosseum is prominently in the background. It looks like it was just like Microsoft Paint level AI. It's like, this guy needs to be playing basketball. Let's end the charade. People thought the charade was him being on the Bucks in the first place because he's the brother of an MVP. And it's like, no, he needs to be playing basketball because this is what happens when he's not.
Oh yeah, we need that expeditiously. But yeah, that should be the Bucks' first signing in free agency, June 30th at whatever time. I was about to say the Woj bomb. Oh no. Oh man. It's going to be the first free agency in a while without Woj. That's crazy. Is it going to be a Haynes brief that Thanasis has signed with the Milwaukee Bucks?
I think it's going to be, I'm trying to think of another like NBA report. A Beck brief?
A Beck brief. It's going to be a Stein line.
Stein line? It could be a Stein line.
Fisher brief. I couldn't think of any.
Everybody briefs. Fishing line.
Oh, that's a good one.
Fishing line?
Yeah, Jake Fisher's fishing line.
There we go. I guess he's more the People's Insider, but his so-called title. We're just like airing out our thoughts. People's titles.
That's okay. it's fine.
I know. It is fun.
Yeah, but Thanasis ready to play. He says he's back. I need that Jordan facts.
So I pulled up the Journal Sentinel article about this because I got a push notification for them because I subscribe to my local newspaper. And the quote from he announced this during the live taping of Thanalysis at the Potawatomi Hotel Casino back in whenever they taped that live. His quote was, I'm back. A beaming Giannis Antetokounmpo said during a live taping of his Thanalysis show podcast at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. I'm back.
Just kept saying I'm back. I love it. 4 times.
Four I'm back. So he's back.
He's back.
He's back.
He's better be back. I'm really excited for that. But I think that's all the news. I don't think we've missed any news, but I think we can get on to starting to grade this roster. And I said I want to do this by position group. So let's just go 1 through 5. So let's start with the point guards. Point guards who remained on the roster, correct me if I'm wrong, are Damian Lillard, Ryan Rollins, Kevin Porter Jr.
You put him as point guard.
Kevin Porter Jr.?
Kind of was.
He played a majority of his time at point guard for the Bucks.
That's true. Yeah. Porter guard. Porter Dowd, High School, South Carolina.
Is that a thing?
That's where Chris went.
Oh.
Yeah. Are we starting with Dame?
Yeah, let's start with Dame. Let's start with Dame. So Dame had he had a good season for the Bucks, man. Like he was an all-star. He might be all NBA this year. He missed a
Oh yeah, we still haven't gotten those.
Yeah, we still, for some reason we haven't gotten MVP, but we got all rookie dropped this like Tuesday morning. What are they doing? It's insane.
The NBA sucks.
It's so bad. You know what you do? You drop MVP the day, but like the right before Game 7 of Nuggets Thunder. You have Shea accept that trophy, and then you go play Game 7. Put all the stakes on there. You do that. But no, they don't want to have fun.
That's dumb.
It's really stupid. But yeah, they have not announced All NBA yet. Dame has a chance. I don't know if he's going to, but he definitely has a chance. He had a really good season, and he was kind of playing to what the Bucks wanted to do more this season. He was such a force on the offensive end. He was doing better things with Giannis. He was locking in on the defensive end more. I don't know what else. I mean, you could have asked for some more from Dame, but I overall thought Dame had a really good season.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's going to be clouded by how it ended, but he upped his efficiency all throughout the board, maybe even at the free throw line by a 0.1. Identical scoring average, like you said, pretty much what we
top 10 scorer and top 10 assist guy.
Yeah, like
both were 10, but that's still top 10.
Well, and I think it maybe it was more of knowing that Chris, until he got traded, was on his own timeline, so there's even more of a reliance on Dame carrying the Bucks in ways that, during that stretch of like how bad they got off to that awful start towards going to the NBA Cup. It was like him and Giannis, whether they're on the court at the same time or it's one of them running the show, they were able to find that formula. And I thought compared to what we saw last year, which was, we knew that was good, I thought this was a great Damian Lillard season. That's why it was a shame that he didn't get to finish it near close to the form that he played for much of the year. And then obviously the worst thing possible happened. So I think my grade would be an A-. Maybe, actually, I would say A.
Yeah, I had him in an A as well. I mean, really, really strong play from him this year. It could have been better, but you can't really ask more from having like an all-star, potential all-NBA a point guard as your second best player. Like doing that all as a second option is kind of insane. So
yeah,
it's really cool and really upsetting that it ended the way it did. And I guess we should have established this beforehand. Are we doing this just based on regular season or playoffs?
I think
overall. We have to do it overall.
Overall, I mean,
maybe I might put it down
kind of weird.
Yeah. Like, do I penalize him for getting injured? Like, I know that sounds terrible, but like, I'm not judging him as a person. Like,
I'm the weakest link. Goodbye.
Like,
that's what you just said.
But
David.
You have to take that into account, don't you? Like, that's why I might put it at an A-.
There are two guys that I am definitely taking that into account with that we'll get to. One very, very soon.
Maybe that puts it down to an A- because he was only for like, I don't know, 1.5 games. No, he played two in like a quarter, less than a quarter games.
It was game, yeah, 2.25.
2 and less than a quarter, yeah, because he tore his Achilles in the first quarter. I don't think that's really sunk in. Dame really tore his Achilles, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I was coming home during that game, and I got the push notification from Chris Haynes Brees himself that he had torn.
That Lance Stevenson's requesting a trade. Or no, wait, he's going to be drafted number 1 overall.
Michael Beasley's like, that's it.
I'm out of here.
Get me out of here.
I'm out. I love how in that tweet he says sources tell me, by the way. So B's told you. So it's like,
yeah.
it's crazy. But I could talk about Hayden's briefs all day long, man.
I know
But
this
that
will be just a
might make me put
reaction
it down to
video.
an A- just because of the way it ended. And again, I'm not blaming him. It's not his fault, but
Sounds like you're blaming.
it's part of the season.
It is part of the season, and he did miss a good chunk. I mean, he missed the last 3 weeks of the regular
17
season, too.
games, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he missed all of the April. I think we're gonna be like, you had a blood spot. You're way down in eighth. Yeah, this is 2025 apparently. We're just come on.
He missed 14 games this season. That's not true at all. He missed I can't do math. He missed 24 games this
24.
season. And I think the last
crazy.
17 he missed, and then the others were interspersed.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But I'm gonna put it at an A-.
A minus. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, not to foreshadow my grade for Giannis, I don't think the two best players on the 2024-25 Bucks team are going to be below an A.
Spoilers. Who knows? I might have Giannis at a C. Stay tuned to find out. We're gonna get there. But let's go through the rest of the point guards. Ryan Rollins, kind of steady. I'd say for expectations, incredible. Starting his season as a two-way player, making his way up to the point where we're like, this guy has to get a roster spot, right? Like it has to be coming at some point.
Also had a devastating, could have been end of the year's shoulder surgery, but played through it.
Yeah.
He started playing because of the abject disaster that the start of the season was. Then got hurt. Then it was we don't think he's playing, but they didn't really sort out or make it known what his status was moving forward. And then once he started playing, we're he's playing with one shoulder, but he's kind of playing good. And then, like you said, they guaranteed his roster spot or kind of promoted him, I should say.
He was a good player, a steady player. I never really had any qualms with him when he was on the court. I mean, he could have been more aggressive for a shot, but out of other players, he might have been the most aggressive for his shots. For those who were kind of timid, he's a solid defender, not the best defender you'll ever find, a good shooter. He just needed to take more of them. He ended the season, above 40%, 40.8% from deep.
I think so. My question, and I know Newmark and I run on this is a big thing with Talk of the Tundra when we're grading however many Packers play. How much do you give them the bump of the expectation? Because like you said, Ryan Rollins was a two-way player, so you go into the year with two-way player expectations, which is not high. And then when he's playing legitimate playoff minutes, and arguably should have played more, that's going to factor in if he gets a B plus. Not that I'm saying he's getting a B plus, but if he gets a B plus, part of that is because we didn't have any expectations that he would be a contributor to this team moving forward. And then as the season progressed, it was oh, this guy's one of the 7 best players on the team by the end of the year. Which is not a high number halfway through, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of insane how important he ended up being. And I think you should take expectations into account, right? So I have him as a B. I have him as a B purely because we had we had nothing. We were like, hey, the Bucks kind of need a backup point guard. DeLon Wright, the aforementioned, that's 2 DeLon Wright mentions on this pod, just isn't it. He never even was a point guard. He never was. He never played a second of point guard for the Bucks. But you need kind of a backup guy, and we're like, hey, if Ryan Rollins can do something, can he steal some minutes? It's gonna be interesting, but I don't know. I had him as a B. He probably could have played more. Unfortunately, that shoulder injury has happened, and hopefully he can heal up and maybe re-sign as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. He's not guaranteed for next year, so it's going to be interesting. I think I'm going to go with a B. Really surpassed my expectations, and contributed to really overall solid point guard play for the Bucks.
I would say B minus. Um, I think there's something to until Kevin Porter Jr. came along and the Bucks just kind of handed him the reins and kind of usurped Rollins to some degree until Dame got hurt or sidelined at least at that point. There was no downhill threat beyond Giannis. And Ryan Rollins has the athleticism, has some explosiveness, has some handle to kind of do that. And like you mentioned, do we expect him to be a 40% 3-point shooter? Should have been higher volume, of course, but getting any level of offensive production that way is pretty remarkable for a guy that just started as a two-way player.
Yeah, it's kind of insane how he did that as a two-way player and starting the season, but it's a good success story for the Bucks. And the last point guard we have here is Kevin Porter Jr., mid-season acquisition. And I don't know, man. I'll let you go first. How about that?
So my initial thought, he was kind of one of the first grades that came to mind, and I was gonna say B minus, and not to take a Tim Bontemps turn, but the playoffs were just so bad that I would take it down to a C plus. Because it wasn't even just you could say that there was a worse playoff run on this roster or for a player on this roster that we'll get to again shortly. But it was just just seeing him struggle to even run the offense and just play very Kevin Porter Jr. plays at his own speed and kind of plays this herky jerky decelerating kind of way that when he just goes off the rails, it is like watching a slow motion car crash because it's he's dribbling the ball off his foot. Oh, that's a turnover. Or he's trying to play with some flair and pass the ball to AJ Green, who's cutting towards the rim. It's oh, that gets sailed out of bounds. It's just very, when he's bad, it's so prominent that it makes it look or makes it feel like he had 3 turnovers in one possession.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? But I think we have to say that, when he first came to the Bucks, obviously it was really, really resounding success. Him and Jericho Sims really played well, but the playoffs just leave such a bad taste in your mouth, like you were saying, right? I'm going to say C plus or a B minus. Whatever, between the two of them. I can't really be bothered, but when it was good, it was great. When it was bad, it was real bad.
Yes.
So that's why I'm going to say, hey, you pass. You pass. You're a little bit above. You're above passing.
Yeah, I mean, again, I know this is his first playoff experience. There's a lot of baggage that comes with Kevin Porter Jr. anytime you talk about him. But given that we also had low expectations when they traded for him because one of all the off-court stuff that is unpleasant and just you have to talk about whatever you have to. It's a very conscious effort to talk about it. But also, he was traded for MarJon Beauchamp, who I believe was cut by the Clippers, picked up by the Knicks. Is he still on the Knicks?
I think he signed a two-way.
Is he part of this run?
No, he's technically not eligible, but
he's on the team.
I think so.
They might be putting him in a box seat because they're yeah, we can't have all.
No, James Dolan not letting that ticket money come through. Come on, he's got to build another sphere somewhere.
That's true. He might build a sphere. I don't know. Sphere of the Deer. That's
Sphere of the Deer. Nice.
There we go. What was I say? Oh yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. got traded for MarJon. So maybe one of the worst players in the league, currently.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. You know what I mean? That is. I don't. The bar was that high of what he was replacing, and the Bucks had essentially found money until the playoffs came along.
Yeah, point guard, strong position for the Bucks.
Stronger than it's been in a long time.
Really, real strong.
Since
I was not expecting
George Hill was backing up Bledsoe.
I think so.
Because outside of that, it would be Drew and then Jeff Teague. And then Drew, I don't even know, 21-22. Was that George
Carter?
Hill? Yeah, Carter, but then George Hill was playing.
Oh, yeah, then he came back.
We said 22, 23. I mean, Javon was good, and then there was a lot of things that happened in that playoff run.
Friend of the pod, Javon Carter.
That is true.
You know what else is friends of the show, Jordan? And that's our friends over at Prize Picks, the proud sponsor of the Euro Step. All you have to do, you know what's crazy, Jordan? You can get $50 when you play your first $5, win or lose for the first time on the Prize Picks app. And all you have to do is use code EUROSTEP at sign up or click the link in our description, which is great because you don't want to miss your final chances to add your favorite players from the court during these basketball playoffs to your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it be points, rebounds, assists, or one I've been having fun lately is points or PRA in the first 5 minutes of a game, which is kind of fun. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. I know, Jordan, you're always full of hot takes. And this is everyone's opportunity to turn your playoff hot takes into tickets. Every $5 3-pick flex all NBA lineup you make on Prize Picks will enter you in the Takes 2 Tickets sweepstakes, which could get you and a +1 to the ship. Now you might be wondering, what's a flex play? Well, Prize Picks is the inventor of the flex play, which means you can still win money even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can get up to double your money, and you can do more with that flex play. It's really convenient when you can't get everything right, as I so often don't, so I always rely on that flex play, and it always comes through for me. Now, Prize Picks is your place to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Wisconsin, most important for our listeners. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions, including Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday Prize Picks discounts select play projections to provide even more value for your lineups. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. And even though our team isn't in the playoffs anymore, you don't want to miss the rest of the basketball playoff action that's heating up on Prize Picks. So come join us. Download the app today and use code EUROSTEP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code EUROSTEP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup, or click the link in our description. Prize Picks, run your game. So now we get into the two-guard position, which is something I kind of want to talk to you about. Who's the two-guard on this team, Jordan? So here's who I've got. Actually, no, I'm going to ask you who's a two-guard on this team first.
Big Green.
Yep.
Pat.
I don't know Pat.
Why don't I look at the roster?
Gary is another good one.
Gary for sure. I think that's it. I think that's where I mean, they didn't play him like a two guard, but he has two guard qualities, I guess. I don't know. I think that's it. I think those are the two for sure.
You might argue Ajax as well. And another option is Taurean Prince, who was the
that's
Bucks
who I was going to throw out there
for a long time. So I'll give the option to you, Jordan, because I've done this with Ty in different ways in the past. So I'll give it to you. Are we going to do it based on how they what they should be playing, or how they were played? What they're best suited to be as a player, or what they were?
Well, with Andre, that might be, is he a center, but he's just 6'5"? I don't know.
So I'll let you choose.
Let's do how they played.
So
how they played for this.
So Taurean Prince would be a two guard for the Bucks.
We'll do it.
So it's Taurean Prince, Gary Trent Jr., AJ Green, Andre Jackson Jr. And I think that's it.
Are we saving Pat for the three?
Pat's a 3. So it's
a point forward. Pat forward.
Listen, when you put up 43 points in an NBA game, that's kind of crazy. So we're gonna go with those 4 players. So let's start with the guy who played a lot of the season as a two guard, and that's AJ Green. Gotcha. So AJ Green, coming off, his first year, this will be his second year as a member of the full roster, and had a disappointing playoff run in his first ever appearance. he came in and he was always seemed to be a staple of this rotation for Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers trusted AJ Green from the jump. He was like, hey, what do you do? Oh, he can shoot. Yeah, kind of more of an indictment on Doc. But kind of came to this roster and came to this season with kind of an open opportunity. As we were saying, not a strong position if the Bucks wanted to do this. This has been a position they've been trying to figure out for what feels like 5 years or more. And spoiler alert, they might have done it. But AJ Green, just a 3-point sniper, had some down. He started off really hot, but had some down stretches in the middle. Wasn't playing his best defense I've ever seen. Had a bit of a relative lull for 3-point shooting, but was getting a lot of fouls, was not being a good defender. He would always get lost on switches. He would always sort of get lost in team defense. But then he kind of picked it up near the end, turned it into a solid performance, had some good playoff moments. I might just go with a B here.
I think B is right. Like, I know a lot of it is contextual, like a lights out shooter next to Giannis just always works, even if it's someone like Tony Snell, he's not nearly the same level of shooter that AJ Green has been. But it just always worked with someone that's like a baseline shooter versus like, this is like arguably one of the best like pure shooters in the league. And there's a lot of good ones. But I think your point of even with some dips, even with, going hot and cold, which happens to all kind of good shooters eventually, I thought the biggest difference is that AJ Green, I mean, especially when Dame went down, he was one of the guys that was putting up buckets in that last game. And it was not a good playoff run last year for him. I thought, that is going to be kind of the territory for whether it's Kevin Porter Jr., whether it's AJ Green, whether it's Kyle Kuz. I think that was such a big hurdle for him to clear. Like, he was 18-35 from 3 during that playoff series. I know it was 5 games. I know that the Bucks lost 4 of them, but still, like, it's still something that it was not too bright for him that he could, be,
especially after last season's playoffs.
Yeah, like last year's felt very much like, okay, he's not there yet. And even though this playoff run was definitely worse, not just by losing or winning one less game and amid, Damian Lillard getting hurt and all that stuff. But I thought the strides that he made shooting the ball, hitting that playoff moments, even defensively, he's not going to be the perfect defender, but he at least showed some fight, and there's some good smarts that he has that way. But even though he's going to be over advantaged or exploited to some degree, it's what else can you ask more from a guy that's either, it's not like necessarily your sixth man, but he's kind of knocking on the door to be like a starter. Like, he's becoming an indispensable piece on this team, no matter what they end up looking like.
I think so. I think you have to lock him up. One of the priorities this summer should be trying to get an extension done with AJ Green. I'm going to go with a B. What's your final?
B.
Okay.
Also going B.
Gary Trent Jr., who I think should be the Bucks starting 2-guard going forward. Giannis, please. He really turned it around. He had a rough start, got injured. The Bucks were having a rough start in general, and then never got his starting spot back until the postseason, which is strange.
Game 3.
Yeah. And he rose to the occasion so much. Like, the Bucks do not win that game without Gary Trent Jr. The Bucks aren't in Game 5. Maybe it is Gary's fault. They don't lose that heartbreakingly if Gary Trent Jr. doesn't have 37 points. So maybe that's a negative for Gary, but it's a really strong season. He struggled to find his footing in Doc's rotation, kind of, because he never found that starting spot back, but he was always a staple. And after that horrendous start, really picked it up, showed great heart on the defensive end. However, coming in with the expectations that he was going to be the starting 2-guard for the entire season, I'm going to give it a B.
I'm also going to give a B. I'm just looking this up, and I know like his start was really bad, but really it was 3 weeks of the season, and then he turned it on for the rest of the year. Like, I mean, again, he's going to have shooter moments where he has in some games, he doesn't have in some games, but outside of like that 3 week stretch where literally everything was going wrong for the Bucks, Gary Trent Jr. was pretty consistent. I mean, he finished as where did he finish in the? He was there. It's all kind of screwed up, but still like
He ended the season
hitting
at
41,
41.6% from deep on like almost six attempts a game. That's crazy.
average over double digit scoring too, like off the bench primarily. He had a lot of good like beyond just game 3 and game 5. Like there are definitely games where he swung wins in the Bucks direction because he caught got hot really late. Or like I mean look at the New Year's Eve game against the Pacers where they were down by however many points it was during that game. And Gary Trent Jr. hits clutch buckets. Like he for all the expectations that we had going into the year, he definitely hit the point where it was ridiculous that he was a bench piece for as long as he was because he hit the status of like this is your starting two guard, maybe your third best player when it came down to it. And obviously part of that changed by the end of the year, but still, it pretty much is everything that we expected him to be going into the year.
Yeah, another priority for this offseason, like I mentioned, and I'll give him a B. I might have given him a little high. Actually, is a B too high? Maybe it's a B minus. The expectations for me were high. I know he's a minimum signing, but he came in to be the starting two guard. I might go B minus.
I'm gonna stick with B because I think minimum signing or not, and knowing the deal with it, like I didn't think that he would be like Chris level like player, like what we expected Chris to be eventually. But I thought like it's like oh this I don't know. Does it really? Maybe B minus is actually good. Now that I think I'm gonna stick with the B. I'm gonna stick with the B.
Alrighty, so now we got Ajax as our last two guard. Actually, no, we didn't do Torian Prince yet. Oh my god,
We did not.
let's do Ajax and then we'll get to TP. Ajax, I don't have a ton to say. Kind of, he missed a lot of the season. I don't know if anyone noticed. Not due to injury or anything. Doc just was like, yeah, no, we're good. But was a starter, a staple starter for the Bucks, and did all right. He started 43 games for the Bucks this season, which is kind of insane.
Same.
Didn't play in 15 of them, so just crazy. I'm gonna give it a C minus. I did not like Ajax this season. He could, even though he was the starter the entire time, at least I was like, when are we gonna see a different guy in here? When is AJ or Gary gonna be back in here? How long are we gonna do this? Doc puts Ajax into the starting lineup after the bad start and Gary Trent gets injured, and then doesn't lose his starting spot until after the trade deadline. He didn't do enough to really earn it. He had every single opportunity to do so. He started 43 games for this Bucks team and never really made a mark or anything. Maybe it's lower. Maybe it's did I say C minus?
You said C minus.
Yeah, maybe I'll stick with a C minus. Or a D. It might be a D plus. I'm gonna give a D plus.
I'm giving a D.
D? Okay.
Okay, this is. Do we hear something damning?
Please.
So Andre Jackson Jr., you mentioned here, we're just throwing on some numbers.
I love numbers.
43. You mentioned 43 starts. He did not surpass 1,000 minutes this year.
Tough.
Do you know how hard that is to start 43 games? And Kyle Kuzma played more minutes for the Bucks this year than Andre Jackson Jr. did. And Kyle Kuzma played 33 games versus 67 for Andre Jackson Jr. When he was out, he was out. it wasn't even just like that. Like
And even when he was starting, it was kind of like it was limited minutes.
Exactly. Like it was like Thon Maker, where when Jason Kidd was coaching, Thon would play like the first 6 minutes of the first quarter and third quarter, and you would not see him for the rest of the game.
I love calling it the Thon Maker Memorial start.
Yeah. And again, like we kind of felt like this is I think Andre Jackson Jr. I had high expectations for. And it was obviously misplaced, but again, going back to the 2024 playoff run, one of the few guys that had was a plus for the Bucks during that series, where they had no Giannis. Dame was playing on one leg, Chris was playing on no ankles, but somehow upright. Andre Jackson Jr. was a plus for that team, and it just goes so badly, like him driving a car into an apartment complex. Like it was just terrible. There was so. I even like when he was starting. There was. I know. I'm sorry.
It's crazy. What a wild Bucks year it was, man.
It was so wild. Like this is the thing. Is that
a player on the team crashing his car into an apartment building was not something I remembered.
When the season started, it was like a weekend or maybe something like that. Given how many different lineups and how many players are on this team, and then Andre Jackson Jr. just got no shot after the trade deadline, essentially. Like, there was no progression in anything that he did, which is super disappointing. And, like, it's not like we're talking about a very skilled player. We're talking about high-energy guy, defensive specialist.
You suck, Andre, is basically what Jordan's saying.
I watched that dunk contest, too.
Oh, my goodness. Was that this year?
That was this
year.
Oh,
my God. It's an F. It's an F. I cannot. I forgot about that, man.
Yeah, like...
That was terrible. It was really
rough.
Bad dunk contest.
That was the microcosm for his year.
It really was. You can't even shine in a place where it's like... it's to your strengths to like just be athletic. Like that's what
even when he was going for those dunks, he was like putting his head away because he's so scared of dunking.
When he was
scared of looking at the
younger and he was first dunked, did he accidentally like get injured? Like did he have like a head injury on the rim or something? Is that why he's scared?
I don't know.
Just scared. Yeah, I might D+ might be strong, man. That dunk contest was terrible.
This year was bad.
It was really bad.
It's really bad.
D-. Final answer.
Final answer. You're muted.
And yours is D for a final answer?
I'm gonna stick with D. I'll give him something, I guess. Actually, I'm going D-. What am I talking about?
Okay. Taurean Prince, who we're including in the 2-guard section. That's kind of sucks.
In the 2-guard.
It kind of sucks, doesn't it? It's just like, here's the thing about Taurean Prince, and I've said this ever since the season ended. I think he has value as an innings eater in the regular season. He's not gonna really mess things up for you. The one thing he will not do is rise to the occasion in the slightest, and we saw that in the postseason, man. And so I'm gonna give it a C. I think he passed the regular season with flying colors. But when it came down to the playoffs, it was just like out. One, like he didn't shoot the ball at all. And two, he just was out of the rotation. And we're like, even as it was happening, we're like,
he got docked.
Maybe TP should play a little bit. Like he was like, it shouldn't be all the way out. It's not all or nothing. I'm going to give it a C. Very average.
I think C is right. I think you're
45.7% from three in the regular season.
He was lights out, but it's also like he's not.
Or 43.9. Sorry.
Yeah, but he's a good spot up shooter. But defensively, like my biggest gripe with him is like he's not. He was so passive.
Actually, no, we're counting him as a 2-guard. It's a D. Like it's just ever since the trade deadline, I'm like, what are you doing? Like why? This is on Doc as well. Doc gets an F, by the way. Doc doesn't get a grade. The screen navigation's terrible. It's really bad. If we're counting him as a 2-guard because he played as a 2-guard, it's really bad. So I think C might be too nice. I'm gonna give it a D+. I'm mad again, Jordan. I'm upset again.
I can feel it. Your analogy of or like the comparison of like innings eaters, like it's spot on. That's what you expect. And the problem is that when they open up the playoff series and he's struggling to even just contain or stay in front of Tyrese Halliburton, he's slippery, but he's not like blow you out of the water like explosive. And Torian Prince was like, oh, like he's just like he just never had some level of like defensive stopper. He can only stop himself defensively. You know what I mean? Torian Prince problem.
Just bad. What grade are you giving?
I'll take it down to C-.
Okay, so you got C-, I got a D+. Just annoying, man. I'm giving it the same logic as Ajax. Whenever he was a starting 2-guard, I'm like, when are we going to have him stop being a 2-guard? Like, when is someone else going to start?
Yeah.
That's what I kept thinking.
It's a problem that we had to say that for multiple players.
Right! In the same position group for 2 guys, neither of which are 2 guards.
Meanwhile, we're like, Gary Trent Jr.
Also, like, this exercise broke because it's like Torian Prince wasn't even a 2-guard the whole season. Like, pre-trade deadline, he's like a 3.
He was a 2-guard when it mattered most, though, right?
Yeah. Kid. And he made sure it didn't matter. God, let's go to 3s. This Bucks team has no 3s. Pat, this is where Pat comes in. Kuzma's here. I think it is it. I think that's it. What other 3s are on this team? Like I don't know. You want to say CL like Chris Livingston?
I was going to say CL.
He's a 4. Playing them
should be a 4, yeah.
Playing them at the 3. I don't think he did
2.
play. Yeah, he's a. Oh my god. Let's just count it. Let's just count it at those 2. It's just Pat and Kuzma. Let's do. If we're just going to keep on the disappointment train, it's Kyle Kuzma time. Fairly good, passable regular season. Never quite found it offensively. He didn't do that in the playoffs either. But did find it defensively. I think there was a lot of good signs in the regular season to think like, hey, this could actually go well. Like a good
better than Torian Prince.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not a high bar, but I think that's clear.
Yeah, like showed versatility, showed utility, and showed like, hey, maybe this trade makes sense. And then the playoffs came. And then everything just went terribly.
Do you remember his averages during the playoff series?
It's got to be like...
Can I refresh you?
Please, just tell me.
He averaged 5.8 points, 2.2 rebounds, under an assist, and shot 34% from the field, 20% from 3, and 50% from the free throw line.
It took him until the second game to score a point.
Yes. How many minutes did he play in the deciding game? Oh yeah, he played 12 minutes and was a -1
in a 1-point loss.
Yeah.
Just bad. I don't understand how it went that poorly.
What would you only regular season?
I'd probably give him a B.
I give him a B-.
Yeah, B- for the regular season. I had higher expectations, but it wasn't terrible. For the playoffs,
it was better ways than we expected.
Yeah. I was like, hey, if the offense comes around, which he's good at, and he has this defense there, that's like a good player. That's a really good player who's young and under contract. Now we're like, oh my goodness. Hey, other teams, he's young and under contract. But it just never came together. It never coalesced into an actual player who was useful for the Bucks. And I can't get out of my head. Just, you know what Doc Rivers cooks up? He's like, you know what we need to do when this team is struggling down in the postseason? We need to get Kyle Kuzma going in game 2. He didn't score in game 1. Let's just feed him the ball right away. And I'm like, as soon as that happened, I was like, yeah, this is over. This is so over. Every single possession was him going to the rim, falling down, and then it being a 5-on-4. Like, I wish I had tracked the amount. Actually, I'm not going to. I don't want to watch that again. But, like, how many points were given up just because of Kyle Kuzma fell down at a drive, fast breaks for the Pacers? was a lot.
A lot. Too many. And he didn't play that much by the end of the year.
It's crazy.
By the end of this
when you asked me to guess his playoff stats, I was like, it's got to be like 7 or 8 points per game. 5 is crazy. 5 is crazy. Like this is a D- to me.
Yeah. The fact that he was not even playing, like, he was he was the Thon Maker ceremonial starter, and then just wouldn't play. You know what I mean? Like, that's totally damn. Are we also grading Horst? I know you mentioned Doc gets an F. Are we grading John Horst eventually?
I don't know yet.
It's an interesting discussion.
Maybe that's another time.
It might be. But no, I would say B- for regular season. But if you're adding playoffs, I think it tumbles to. I mean, it was so bad.
It was horrendous. He was one of the reasons the Bucks lost that series. Like one of the main reasons, I should say, the Bucks lost that series.
Yes.
His cap giveaway was kind of cool, though. Or his shirt giveaway, whatever it was. Like the Kyle Kuzma design things were kind of cool. But I don't remember what it was. All I remember is that it was cool. So maybe it wasn't that good.
Subscribe to his Substack.
It's just, yeah. I could not have been more disappointed.
And honestly, I mean, the Bucks have had disappointing, like, individual player playoff runs. That is up there.
None have really sunk a team as much as Kyle Kuzma did.
Bledsoe
was bad. I've seen some
Bledsoe had stakes.
Twitter found like Bledsoe highlights as a Buck, and everyone's like trying to like have nostalgia about the Bledsoe days. And I'm like, do you remember how bad this was? Like
he was. I mean,
in the postseason.
In the postseason, there were not any at all.
But it's like people were saying like, oh, these are the good years. Did you watch the postseason these years? I was screaming every possession for Bledsoe. Yeah. That dude got in a fight, a mental war with Terry Rozier and lost.
Rozier, I remember game one.
He got out-minded by Terry Rozier.
Or like the bubble when he's shooting threes and he's airballing, and it's like, and they're filming from like the sideline point of view, so you just see like the arc of the ball, and it's like, oh god,
they were bad. Horrible. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. There's a reason they traded him. Pat Connaughton, I don't really care. I just don't. He was a non-factor for this Bucks team.
I mean, talk about a very surprising theme happens when the Bucks start.
He played 41 games this
terribly.
Year?
Because once he was out until 43 ball comes on the last game of the year, and everyone's like, "Why Pat Connaughton should be playing?"
Listen, after that game and then going straight into watching Taurean Prince and Kyle Kuzma, I was also saying maybe Pat should play.
Yeah.
I don't know. A C? Who cares? This doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, like I think once he actually, like after a really bad start, and then when he would see the floor, like if someone was out, someone was hurt, and he was kind of like
a great glass in case emergency guy.
Yeah.
There's worse players to have in that role.
Which, on a better team than the Bucks were, that's good. But when it's like he has a performance like he did in the last game of the year, and like he should be playing more, it's like we can make that case for 4 guys, and all 4 of them are not that good.
Yeah. Maybe it's a C+. I don't know. I don't really care.
I think C's fine.
C.
For expectations, go in, like, again, factoring expectations, anything that we get from Pat is gravy, and anything that if he's having a bad game, he's not actively, it's not like Kyle Kuzma level, like he's tanking this team by himself.
Yeah. Time to move on to the 4s. So just Giannis. Is Bob in there?
Tyler Smith.
Maybe. I don't really know if I have a grade for Tyler Smith, if I'm being honest.
I did give one, but it was also like, I do it because...
Here, let's do Tyler Smith. C. I just don't know. Like,
D as in wait and see, because we didn't see much of him.
I didn't know what you were gonna say. I was like, C as a way. I was like, Jordan, wait starts with a W. Like,
I just start giving him a P. You're like, what does that stand for? Like, just a P.
Just a P. But I don't know. Sure, whatever. But Giannis, is it just Giannis? Are we gonna put Bob in there? Let's put Bob in there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do Bob first. Let's save some happiness. I'd say Bob had he had very polarizing halves. And they weren't truly halves. There was like a pre and post suspension. Pre-suspension Bob, I'm just thinking, oh my God, this guy needs to play so much differently. I know he's going to be a good trade piece. He's definitely not going to be suspended. All of these things are happening. Hey, some other team.
The Bucks definitely don't know that he's getting suspended months before he actually gets suspended because he tested positive.
Crazy. Another crazy thing that happened for this Bucks team. Cursed season. But just Bobby Portis being able to go out there and get buckets, it wasn't good enough. And he was kind of sucking up the Bucks offense and kind of leading them into struggles. And he wasn't playing great on the defensive end. But then post-suspension Bob was just a menace, man. He did everything we could have ever asked for him. He did that in the regular season when he came back for those last 4 games, and he did it in the playoffs too. And he rose to the occasion. And it's the rare time where it's like, oh, a Bucks player was struggling in the regular season, then rises to the occasion in the postseason. Is that allowed? Can you do that? But he really solved not every single, but he solved most of the problems that most people, like ourselves included, had with him. It really was a great piece for this team as the season ended and as the playoffs began. However, that first half exists and that suspension exists where you're missing
the majority of the season for him too.
More than a quarter of the season, right? 25 games. That's bad. That's not good. He had a great end. He really brought it back. But there was a lot of bad in there. I'm going to go with a C-.
C+. I think maybe the playoff bump and factoring in. I mean, he was the 3rd highest scorer for a team that lost in 5 games, so it doesn't matter. But I didn't think his pre-suspension year was as bad. It's as we're sorting through this, like, this team was just so weird, and they switched things up. I mean, we didn't see him play with the post trade deadline Bucks until after he got back from suspension, and that honestly probably would have done Bobby a lot better than, however the handful of games that we saw of him after the returning from the suspension. But like it was still like it it's kind of what we were expecting, or what we came to expect from Bobby of the last couple of years, and then he just turned it on post suspension. That when it mattered most, and when the Bucks were making their run to avoid falling into the play-in zone, locking up the 6th seed or 5th seed, sorry. He was a big factor. Why? I mean, again, he played a lot more minutes than Brook Lopez did in that playoff series, and then eventually got the start in the final game. So I think he ended on a high note, even if he was pretty average when pre-suspension.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's just the suspension was just brutal. Completely threw off a lot of this Bucks team, and it was just bad when they really needed him. He's like the Avatar Roku. When they needed him most, he vanished.
I recognize the reference. I have not watched.
Oh, you need to. It's a classic. It's one of the greatest shows I've ever watched.
Really?
Yes. Not a joke.
Is it your favorite show?
It might be.
What's your second favorite show?
I don't know. I liked Severance.
Haynes Briefs?
Haynes Briefs. Yeah. The ongoing saga. Giannis A plus. I'm not. I don't need. I don't need to. He's had probably his greatest season ever, and it comes at a. It's really sad, is what it is, Jordan. Greatest season of his illustrious career. Another 30-point per game season. Upped his assist numbers. His efficiency was off the charts. Defensively, he locked in more than he has in years. He tried to carry this team on his shoulders, played in the postseason for the first time in a few years. He did literally everything you could ever ask for. Except maybe like hit some free throws. It was his worst free throw shooting season ever. So that's a thing. But A plus, absolutely an A plus for me. Perfection, no notes.
Like where he was over April was just so crazy. And watching like the fact that we've watched him play basketball for so long, and the things that he was doing, and essentially when it's him, he's Point Giannis running the show. We've seen how that goes, but it was done in a very meticulous way. It's like a lot of half court. Giannis being the point guard in half court basketball is a totally different experience than what we associate with like running in the wall, playing as fast as they do. Like he just is at the top of his game. And the fact that he did play playoffs and did play well, like I just don't have any major criticisms on his season.
Yeah, it's anything.
Defensively, he was way. Sorry, defensively, he made a true leap of like what it was the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think so. It just makes it, like I was saying earlier, makes it even worse that it was kind of squandered like this. So there's that great thing. Giannis, please stay. I think it's the last high note for this Bucks team as we kind of move on to the centers. Brook Lopez, Jericho. Jericho. We'll talk about it. Let's do Jericho first. It's
a weird one though because he missed so much time.
He did miss a lot of time as well. I will say in the minutes that he did play, he was effective. Him and Giannis, I don't feel like were utilized enough together, even though they had monster defensive numbers together. Just an absolute, like, hey, this is a young guy, relatively young guy. Still, like, on his rookie contract, going to be, up for, he's going to be a free agent this offseason. The Bucks do have his full bird rights, so they could pay him max if they wanted to. Please don't. But, like, you could. You can keep him. He's a good young center. He's a good athletic young defensive center where that's kind of tough to find, and the Bucks managed to find one. And I think it's crazy that it's crazy good circumstances for the Bucks that the Knicks wanted to do good by Jericho Sims and send him to a place where he could play. And Milwaukee was that place. He ended up making an impact in the regular season because Bobby got suspended, so he had to. He was playing, but then he injured his thumb, missed some time near the end of the season, came back for the postseason. Was relatively okay. I'd say he was a good player in the postseason for a team that had a lot of bad going on. I'm gonna give it a B. I thought it was okay. Like I had no expectations for him because he's just like an end of the bench guy who wasn't playing a ton. I mean, I got excited at the prospect of Jericho Sims, but I don't know. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I hope the Bucks can keep him.
This is me. I'm already telling you how I'm going to give you my answer. I'm going to front load it. I like Jericho Sims. I agree. I think they should bring him back. They investing in a backup center. Who knew that would be a good idea for the Milwaukee Bucks? Who knew?
Who could have thought?
Who could have thought?
Hey, he might not be your backup center.
That's true. I didn't really think that.
Good or bad? I think he could. There's a chance. I'm not saying it's a large chance, but there's a chance he is a starting center next to Giannis. I'm not mad at it. I want to see it.
You better hope that there's a lot of other good things happening around there. I'm gonna go C minus because just as we were like getting really excited, like it was literally the alley oop Kevin Porter Jr. served up to him in that I forget who it was, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is great!" Like an athletic center that is a rim threat that the Bucks just never had beyond Giannis, and he's not.
They've never really had a player like Jericho Sims this century. The closest is probably John Henson.
Not even. I was just Henson or like Plumlee, but Plumlee wasn't. He was more of like a stiff that like Jericho Sims is like athletic.
Jericho Sims is one of the bounciest players the Bucks have ever had.
Yeah, like Larry Sanders is just very like he had really long arms and like he was not the most nimble.
It's putting it lightly.
I would say. Yeah, putting it lightly.
Those thumbs are nimble though. He'll give people thumbs ups.
That is true, especially the referees.
Yeah.
The thing that I was going to go back to is like, just as we were getting really excited about Jericho since he just got hurt. You know what I mean? Like DeLon Wright played more minutes than Jericho Sims this year.
That's terrible. Why'd you tell me that?
I'm sorry. I just had to look that up. And more people to get more minutes than Jericho Sims. Andre Jackson Jr. No, I was going to say Andre Jackson Jr. after the trade deadline, but that's actually not true. Patman played more minutes than Jericho Sims.
He was also on the team for a shorter amount of time. Yada yada.
I know. Chris Middleton played more minutes than him. It's not a lot, but it did feel like, through no fault of his own, it was just a matter of getting hurt that like we didn't truly get to see like how he could become even more of an interesting piece for this or dynamic to this Bucks team.
But I will say, he in the playoffs when he was available, he did perform. Like he had some rough moments. He needs to get some better hands. Just go to the hand store, pick up some new hands. I say that like it's just easy to just do that. But that's
he scored almost half as many points in the playoffs than he did with the Bucks during the regular season.
That's awesome.
Which is insane.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Jericho Sims. I think he's a great piece that the Bucks need to retain or should retain for this team because you just need to have like a center who can do things and be athletic, as this league is just so uber athletic and switchy. Like they have not had a defensive center like Jericho Sims probably ever. Jericho Sims is a top. Now I can say Jericho Sims has a top category of center in Milwaukee Bucks history, which is saying a lot. They've had a lot of good centers. Ever heard of this guy named Kareem?
I have.
Ever heard of this guy named Bob Lanier? I'm glad you've heard of
this guy named Brook Lopez.
Yeah, Brook Lopez gets a D. I did not like it. I did not like it at all. I really didn't. For Brook Lopez's season, and I hate that we're ending on this note, but I've chosen. But I just didn't like it at all. I really didn't like how Brook Lopez played this entire season. He's clearly lost a step, and it got worse as the season went along. Like you could see the deterioration as you go. I want to make it clear, I'm a big fan of Brook Lopez. I think there's a case for his number to be retired as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. An all-time defensive center, an all-time center for the Milwaukee Bucks, who have an incredible history of centers. So it says a lot. This season was not it, and the playoffs, I think, were just a perfect encapsulation of the Brook Lopez experience and how the Bucks need to move on.
I'm not as harsh, but the resounding message by the end of the year was very clear. Like when Bobby Portis is viewed as a better defensive option than you are, that is kind of damning. I shouldn't say kind of. That is
it's very damning.
He still has value in the league, but it's not in the sense. I mean, when we think of Brook during the finals 4 years ago, he was the best leverage situations that the Bucks could go small. They still replaced size with switchy defense, having options that way, and they weren't losing all that much. But still, Brook was a valuable member because protecting the rim, even like, talk about switching on an island, like it was not ideal, but he's just so massive and has good enough feet that he could just tower over people. But when you go up against a team like the Pacers, who are just have a sure identity, play as fast as possible, it's not a. It is real to say that he was being played off the floor because of how fast they were playing. Like he just doesn't have that. And the Bucks, as much as they used Brook as this guy that can gobble up all of the shot attempts within the paint that he's defending, they didn't give him or do him any favors by having such little perimeter defense. It fell on his shoulders so much to be that rim protecting guy that the team was not constructed to be that way. So I don't think it's all on Brook, but I think, how old is he? 36, 37? Like even Al Horford is not, it's not the best comparison, but like,
Al Horford's doing some things.
He's doing
allegedly,
some things.
According to me.
Yeah. But the Celtics were doing things to insulate him as much as possible as they were. And I don't think the Bucks did Brook any favors of like.
And even the Celtics saw that downfall. Like they were even a victim of it.
It's a team that didn't make it to the conference finals.
It's the teams that are remaining are just young, fast, and athletic, and that's how this league has been trending for a few years now. And it's past Brook Lopez. It's caught up to him. And again, like I agree with you. I don't know if it's not all on him. The position he was put in to be able to like put out every single fire, he can't do that anymore. Like he was put in the wrong. He used to be able to, but now he can't. It's part of aging. I think the Bucks, you don't re-sign Brook Lopez unless it's to like a minimum. Unless you want to like, and he could be a valuable sign and trade piece to a team like the Warriors or the Lakers who are trying to hold on to something they don't have, which is the position the Bucks have been in. So it's like, it's let other teams make that mistake. Not you.
Yeah, I think honestly, because both centers the Bucks have are free agents. Do we think they make more than the minimum? I don't think Jericho Sims is getting anything more than the minimum.
He might get slightly more. He'll get a portion of some ML. I'm not going to say it's crazy. I think he can get $5 million a year.
If it values out to like that they dip into the MLE or whatever, like if they kind of chop it up that way, I would understand it. But I think value, I don't know. I think, and Brook, I mean, the Bucks, when they re-signed him, as Houston was making the run for him a couple years ago, that was like, we're going to do right by you level of, I think John Horst even said that they want Brook's number to be retired. Like that's how much they value.
And honestly, it might be it. Like, yeah, I think there's a solid chance. Like, I think that it's not out of the question. Like, there's a real possibility that Brook hangs it up. I mean, it looks like Robin did.
Robin's still reading that book that he was after he got traded. He was going through books. I think Robin's stuff.
He's not officially retired, but like I don't think anyone's signing him. I think
Brook plays another year. But I would be very surprised unless if it's a desperate team that needs center help. That comes in and gives good money deal for him.
Or if he wants to be a backup center, be like a minimum guy, end of the bench guy. Like I think that could work if you want to ride it out for one last season in the NBA. In Milwaukee, that's like the only situation where that would work for me. But I think it's time to move on in the playoffs, especially with his role. It was a D for me.
I'll go. He is really tough because his regular season was pretty solid, if not spectacular.
I would not say spectacular.
I'm not saying spectacular.
I would not say that Brook Lopez had a spectacular regular season. I will fight you.
My brain went into auto-programming phrase of like solid, if not spectacular. But I was like, I meant it wasn't special. It was just like solid. But again, the playoff thing of he was just Doc Rivers did his docking and just like, yeah, we can't play anymore.
And that was honestly his best call.
He eventually got the message.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So what's the final answer?
I'll go C-.
C-. Okay. I think I had a D. It might be a D plus. I'll say D plus. The last couple guys we didn't actually get to. Is it just CL? CL gets a D or an F for me. Ty and I were talking before the season about it, like, hey, could this guy be a piece? And then he couldn't even do it really with the Herd, and he never got an opportunity. There's a chance he's not on the roster next year.
Well, he's a team option guy, right?
Yeah.
Because of how that contract was structured. Yeah, I'd be surprised.
Good job, Rich Paul. You had to get your guy to Milwaukee. I mean, I think like it's not his fault entirely. He just never had an opportunity.
He was also the last pick in that draft.
Yeah, like it's not crazy. Like
not everybody can be a Sam Merrill or an Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just unfortunate. I really don't have any. I don't really have any thoughts, but that's it. We didn't do the two ways, but it's fine. I think that's okay. I don't really have grades for them. I think Pete Nance was pretty good. I'll give him an A. Yeah, I'm giving Pete Nance an A. Jamari Bouye, you're getting a C. You're getting a B. B minus. Stanley Amude was very disappointing. I actually have thoughts. He did not do anything. Before the season, we were like, hey, could this guy be like we have Isaac Okoro at home? But it's like, no. It just never worked out. I have no idea what he does on a basketball court, and yeah, it was bad. I'll give him an F.
I love comparing Stanley Amude too. We have Isaac Okoro at home. If there's any one like resounding message that should come from this podcast, that's what I'm.
I mean, like, am I wrong?
You're like, it's a little overzealous, but you're not. I probably had when they signed. I was like, oh.
He's played in the NBA.
He has played in the NBA. It's true.
He did that this year too. But like, to what end? I feel bad. I'm just taking these last couple moments just to talk trash about two-way guys. Like, I don't feel good about it.
I mean, it's kind of what two ways are.
Yeah.
You know?
Just a punching bag for me after getting mad? No, that's not true.
No, but yeah, like when you get a book and you like read the back of the book, like these are like the quotes that people say in like the book, and then I think the book that I'm just imagining we have
Jordan, is that going to be at the end of your book?
I wish I desperately I'll email my publisher about it and just be like, can we include this on here? And they'll probably be like, why?
Who's Stanley Amude?
Who's Isaac Okoro? Isaac Okoro is more known than Stanley Amude, but
yeah.
Oh my god.
And like somehow infinitely better. Like Isaac Okoro had some playoff moments.
Isaac Okoro is what you know who that is? It's Andre Jackson Jr. That was me. That was me with Andre Jackson Jr. It was like, we have Isaac Okoro at home, and Andre Jackson Jr. got in that car and just right in the house.
Man crashed into an apartment complex. Like, what are you doing? It's crazy. Oh,
during
man.
the day.
Just yeah, like during the day. Like, what's going on? You could have hurt someone, man. It's crazy. Just don't. Just have someone from the Bucks like that. How do you think John Horst got started? People from the Bucks org are willing to drive players around. Does he need to get the John Horst lesson about how to drive? Because John Horst infamously taught Giannis how to drive.
Yeah. He also named his dog after Adrian Griffin.
There's good things and bad things. Like,
Should we, or his next podcast, are we grading John Horst?
We might have to. That's a good idea.
Because it's going to be
it's going to be long.
It's going to be long.
That is a whole pod in and of itself. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed listening to us grade the Milwaukee Bucks roster. But we'll have you covered for the entire offseason as it progresses here on GSPN. But I'll say thank you for listening to this episode of the Eurostep here on Blue Wire and GSPN, presented by our amazing friends over at Prize Picks, where, by the way, you can get $50 when you play $5 win or lose for the first time in the Prize Picks app. Make sure you click the link in our description. Really helps the show out. And make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening to or watching this podcast platform of choice or YouTube. Check out gspn.info for all of our links, including Talk of the Tundra. Jordan, what's going on in Packerland? Are they trading for anyone?
I thought Jair Alexander would be gone, but apparently he might be.
What's going on there?
I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows. I think he's coming back.
Maybe he retires.
We're kind of in that zone that anything could happen.
Yeah. Maybe he becomes the new head coach. Matt LaFleur cedes his job to Jair.
You never know.
Or he's an associate head coach. He's like, Coach, put me on. I got this.
Who's the Bucks associate head coach? Is it Greg Buckner?
No, it was
Dave Yeager?
No, it was Darvin.
I think is associate head coach different? Oh no, it would be associate head coach.
Yeah, associate's like the second level.
Yes.
Like he was the lead assistant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow, the Bucks really haven't fired Doc yet. It's kind of crazy.
It's not happening. I think
you and I after the game 5, we're like, oh, this is kind of, it's gonna happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet. But
reach development.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Check out gspn.info for all of our links. Pod random, and we'll talk to you next time.